Hey, what's going on out there, YouTube family? This is Sammy Leggy here representing Team JVS. Tonight, I'm going to be giving you guys a double whammy of Rick and Morty reviews. This is my review for episode 9 of Rick and Morty season 4. So, in this episode, Rick, Morty, Beth, and Summer, and of course Jerry. Jerry goes and takes everybody on a crusade. They're going to go camping. Gary feels like, the kids need to go and kind of like maneuver away from like the partying scene and the video game scene to really just kind of like do something collective as a family. But of course things don't go the way they should, because one of the funnier things that happened in the beginning of it is that, basically Jerry was like, yeah, you too, Rick, like no sciencey stuff. And of course you know that that's never how things go. So Rick's phone starts to kind of ring, and it's kind of like this trope that like, somebody's hitting Rick up, pressing him that he's got some, like he's responsible for some kids soon. And like Beth, in her, misplaced feelings of abandonment, which to be honest, I have a lot to interject about Beth in this specific episode, up until a certain point. Is like, no, you need to do something about this. No, you need to go and like advocate for your children, regardless if they're yours or not. You have a responsibility. Kind of like, I will not let you just do this. And then they get there, and like these kids, these creatures start popping out of the ground, and it's like, oh my goodness. And like Beth, in her immediate feeling is like she wants to protect these kids. Like she's got to do something about it, to save them. And like Rick is like, yo, like we should dipset. Like we need to go. Jerry agrees. The kids agree. And then eventually Beth's like, no, Jerry, you take the kids and go camping, and I'm gonna save these kids. And of course, Rick don't love anybody else. He loves his daughter. That's one of the things I loved about this episode, is that it definitely showcased, one, like Beth's true potential. Like she is very smart. Like she could be anything she really wanted to be, and she's invested in who Rick could be. You know what I'm saying? And I think that dynamic at the beginning of this episode was really good. Like to see them kind of like working together to try to sculpt these kids and reform them in a way that, like, it was kind of like, man, I could only imagine what Rick's wife would have been like, kind of situation. And I think that it's sad, and at the same time it's really hopeful at the same time. And that's why I was like, to interject, like up until this episode, there haven't been any real substance of Beth since the episode last season, when we couldn't evaluate whether or not Beth was a clone or not. Like, all honesty, to be very fair with season 4 of Rick and Morty. Now, tonight's finale is going to be happening. I'm going to definitely be doing my review and reaction and stuff like that to it. But honestly, since that episode, I felt like the show has tried to do everything possible to maneuver from an actual narrative. What I mean by that is, up until that point, it was like, okay, you got the underlying stuff that's going on with, the Citadel of the Ricks and the evil Morty. You've got like this lack of understanding of what's going on with Beth and her mom and what that actually means, and the ultimate consequence of like Morty's soul and Rick's soul. Like there was an episode literally when Morty was vain of like his toxicity, what he was truly capable of, and destructive things and very crucial things. And then the opposite effect when it came to Rick, it was kind of like, was he on his bare bones? Like he is raw emotion, the things that he really does love, but he can't maintain, because of his own hubris or his own genius. And it's like, I love that aspect about the show, because that added layers of depth, right? And it's like this season, it goes back to like the old school, random antics of Rick and Morty. But the reason why I love Rick and Morty is because there is under layers of progression. Like the story progresses. You know what I'm saying? One of the things I loved about what was the name of that show? Solar Opposites, is everything about the things in the wall. Because it wasn't just random things that were happening. Like there was a semblance of stuff and events that progressed into an actual story and a narrative that mattered. And this whole entire season, I haven't felt that. You know what I'm saying? Like, I was like, finally I get to see, like, Beth, you know, progress as a character, you know? And it's like, I get it. Like, they got 7 seasons. They're stretching these things out. You know, they're working on stuff ahead of time. So there's a lot to work with. You know, you don't want to fill all your eggs in one basket. I get that. But it's like, I also don't want to feel as though I'm wasting a season either, you know? And I honestly have felt like that. The other underlying issue is that the second half of this episode, it like, you find out that one, Summer tells her dad off. He ends up in basically the same exact location of where Beth and Rick have been developing these kids, and he gets put into the non-productive, you know, group or whatever. And I thought it was funny. Like, I thought that way that they did that execute was really funny. But then some randomness happens. You find out that the planet was like basically lying to Rick, and she actually was cheating. She was married to God. This is where things to me get what's the word? Unacceptable to me. Like, it's just unnecessarily unacceptable to me. Because, I mean, yeah, they eventually kind of justified it, that it's like, yeah, this wasn't the real God, that this is kind of a Zeus kind of like demigod kind of thing. But it was kind of like they went through all the different motions of putting Jerry in the states of being like Moses. And then it was kind of like Rick had to go and fight this being. And like, that is even something that was a capability. Like, it was just like, this is the third or second time this season that something like happened. I'm like, yo, like, yeah, this, I mean, I get, you know what I'm saying, like, Brian Griffin for years on Family Guy has done it, like, you know, picking fights with, you know, his perception or his beliefs, or lack of, or agnostic beliefs. But it's kind of like, it's becoming like a bum record. Like, I mean, there's reasons why I don't look at South Park for some of the same reasons, you know what I'm saying? So, I don't know, like, I think it's just, it's a waste to me. Like, the second act felt like a real waste to me, unfortunately. Whereas, like, the first act, I was kind of, like, really engaged to see where this is really going to go. Like, was it going to be, like, Rick's going to have to make a decision whether or not to stay behind with his daughter to raise these kids, you know, to make her feeling of redemption? Or was he going to have to show her what it meant for abandonment and the capacity behind that? And levels they did go there, but it was kind of like overshadowed with this whole fight between him and this demigod Zeus. And I'm not going to call it God. It's just really kind of like ultra offensive in certain aspects. It's like they haven't really addressed like they kind of alluded to this episode as like maybe Rick can perceive that there is, you know, a higher being, but it didn't go there. I mean, it's just, I don't know, it's just unnecessary to me. I think that was a second running joke that didn't need to be there. And then the stuff that was going on with Summer and Morty with the ship, I was kind of like, at first I was kind of like, oh, okay, yeah. I was like, but nah, they ended up all jacked up. And yeah, the second act just, it didn't fly, bro. Like, I feel like Futurama has done a better job. Matter of fact, other episodes have done, anyway, yeah, I'm not gonna go there. I don't know what I can review. I don't want to rate this episode, but I felt like it was going somewhere, then it didn't. Yeah, so I'm hoping that the finale is better. My ask and request for, you know, Dan Harmon, you know, Justin Roiland and the crew, if they're actually seeing this review, it's not so much like, okay, cool, the season finale has substance. Season finale has progression and making you want to see what's going to happen next for the next season. We don't need Mr. Poopy Butthole. We don't need, like, the V6 to refine that, you know. Like, it's not even so much about the season finale. I need, moving forward, the narrative to take point as much as the randomness to happen. I know that is not something that's easy for any writer. Like, normally you do one or the other. Like, either seasonal randomness that kind of sprinkles in certain semblances of reality or not. But it was kind of like, even like episodes before, it was kind of like, yeah, all this stuff about even more and stuff like that is irrelevant. It's kind of like backlogged, you know. And so, like, I need that. I need the progression to continue. Like, I don't need just random spurts here or there, because it's like, yeah, that can be fun, but it's fleeting. Because there's no substance or roots to hold it. And I think that that's where it's been really missing this season for me. This is probably, like, my least favorite season of Rick and Morty, unfortunately. Which is sad to say, but I mean, I don't even think, like, even if the season finale goes hard in the paint, I don't know that it will, if it's anything like where this season's been. But even if it was like one of the best episodes, like, they'd have to make a point to show me why this entire season they've avoided the natural narrative. You know what I'm trying to say? Anyway, hopefully y'all enjoy this review. Talk to you guys soon. Keep it locked. JVS. We ain't gonna stop. Alright, guys. Stay tuned. Tonight, we're gonna look at the season finale. Peace, guys. Oh, and on Patreon, you can check out our full review. Full reaction. Peace, guys.